In episode 17, titled Leverage Single Sign-On and Federation for Usability, we frame single sign-on as a usability win that also raises the security bar when designed with care. Users get fewer prompts and clearer flows. Security teams get centralized policy, visibility, and faster revocation. The System Security Certified Practitioner, spelled SSCP on first mention, benefits most when identity decisions are made once, enforced everywhere, and evidenced in one place. Our objective is to show how to pick patterns, tune tokens, and wire lifecycles so convenience and control reinforce each other rather than compete for space. When federation is deliberate, fewer passwords circulate, fewer sessions linger, and investigations read like one story instead of a pile of screenshots. Start with roles in a federation and map where trust lives. The identity provider, spelled IDP on first mention, authenticates the subject and issues assertions or tokens. The service provider, spelled SP on first mention, relies on those statements to make authorization decisions. Trust is material, not mystical. It is expressed through certificates for signing and, when appropriate, encryption, through well-known endpoints that handle redirects and metadata retrieval, and through the metadata itself that lists entity identifiers, supported bindings, and key material lifetimes. Maintain a catalog that records each IDP-SP relationship, the active certificates with expiry dates, the endpoints in use, and the attribute mappings agreed by both sides. If you can point to the certificate thumbprints and the exact endpoints, you do not have to argue about who trusted whom later. Choose the right protocol family by considering the application style and interaction context. Security Assertion Markup Language, spelled SAML on first mention, uses signed XML assertions and fits older enterprise web apps and SP-initiated flows well. OpenID Connect, spelled OIDC on first mention, layers identity on OAuth 2.0, spelled OAuth2 on first mention, and fits modern web and native apps with JSON tokens, discovery, and cleaner mobile patterns. Where an app only supports SAML, use it confidently. Where you control a new build or a modern SaaS, favor OIDC for simpler developer ergonomics and clearer token semantics. Avoid mixing for sport. Standardize where you can so your operations and security teams do not maintain two mental models for trivial reasons. Fit the protocol to the surface, not to fashion. Design claims and attribute release to make least privilege work without manual heroics. Begin with a stable subject identifier that never changes across directories when a name changes. Then add role or group claims that are tightly scoped to the application's authorization model. Release only what an SP needs: a unique subject, name for display, email if used for notices, and role attributes that map to application permissions. Avoid dumping directory groups into tokens wholesale. Curate a small, purpose-built set with names that survive audits. Document the mapping on both sides and version any change to an attribute's meaning. When claims are minimal and precise, the app can make fast, correct decisions, and your exposure from token leakage is materially lower. Provisioning should match sign-on so lifecycle never drifts. Just-in-time provisioning creates an application user record at first sign-in based on the claims received and aligns entitlements to roles without a help desk ticket. For bulk and day zero readiness, use System for Cross-Domain Identity Management, spelled SCIM on first mention, to push user create, update, and deactivate events from the IDP or source directory to each SaaS. Tie both methods to the same source of truth for role assignment so a mover's entitlements change in the app as they change in the directory. Deactivation must be contractually and technically reliable. When an account is disabled or a user departs, downstream SP accounts are revoked within hours. Evidence of alignment is a reconciliation report that shows 0 active app users without a live directory identity. Tokens and sessions are levers. Tune them. Set access token lifetimes short enough to limit replay risk and refresh tokens long enough to avoid constant prompts, then apply risk-based step-up when context shifts. Idle session limits should reflect data sensitivity. A finance console deserves shorter idleness and reauthentication before wire edits. A read-only dashboard may allow a gentler curve. For native apps, prefer rotating refresh tokens with binding to a client instance so theft does not scale. Write down the rules: which apps get what lifetimes, which actions force reauth, and which signals collapse a session immediately.
Users feel fewer interruptions, and investigators see crisp starts and ends.
Secure the flows, not merely the endpoints. For OIDC and OAuth2 require state and nonce values to bind responses to requests and defeat cross-site request forgery and replay. Use proof key for code exchange, spelled PKCE on first mention, for public clients such as mobile and single-page apps, and reject authorization code exchanges that lack a verifier. Check token audience and issuer strictly, validating signatures against current keys fetched from the IDP's discovery document, and pin tenant identifiers so tokens from an attacker's tenant do not pass. For SAML, validate destination, audience, and clock skew, and retire legacy bindings that allow insecure transport. A flow that is bound to its origin and purpose resists mix-up attacks by design. Containment depends on centralized logout and revocation that actually work in practice. Enable front channel or back channel logout where supported, so exiting a high-risk app clears the user's global session tokens when appropriate. Expose revocation endpoints and use them when a device is reported lost, a phishing attempt is suspected, or a role changes materially. Build device sign-out into the help desk runbook and the self-service portal, so stale sessions do not linger on shared or retired equipment. Confirm results with quick probes that attempt token reuse and expect failure. Documentation that lists how to end a session, across which scopes, in how long, turns "we think they're logged out" into "we know." Not all doors are equal. Isolate the most dangerous ones. Place privileged admin consoles and orchestration planes behind stronger policies, including phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication, device trust checks, and network boundaries such as private access brokers or conditional access from managed subnets. Require approval gates for privilege elevation that record who authorized the session and for what purpose, with automatic expiry and a short after-action note. Where possible, split control planes so read access and write access use different roles and policies, reducing the blast radius of a single token theft. This is not ceremony. It is seatbelt engineering for the places where one click can change many things. Make onboarding repeatable so each new SaaS integration does not become an ad hoc experiment. Standardize a playbook, protocol choice and justification, claim set and mapping, role model verification, SCIM or JIT decision, token and session parameters, step-up triggers, logout and revocation checks, and test cases for success and failure. Include security checkpoints, proof of signing key rotation policy at the vendor, support for modern algorithms, breach and incident notification clauses, and a full disable path. Keep a short acceptance record with screenshots or transcripts showing happy path, denied path, and logout effectiveness. When the playbook is short and clear, the business can integrate quickly without leaving security to catch up later. Operate federation like a system with health and alarms. Monitor assertion failures for SAML, token validation errors for OIDC, sudden spikes in consent approvals, drops in SCIM success rates, and increases in refresh token reuse from new locations. Alert on signing certificate expiry within a safe window so cutovers are planned, not panicked. Trend login success latency to catch provider or network issues before users swamp the desk. Tie alerts to owners with an action on page line so the first responder knows whether to fail over, rotate keys, or call the vendor. Visibility turns a grumpy rumor mill into a measured response. Name the pitfalls and fix them in policy and code. Unsanctioned direct logins, bypassing the IDP with local SP passwords, undercut centralized control. Disable local auth where possible, or confine it to break glass with rotation and monitoring. Hard-coded secrets in integration middleware or scripts invite theft. Move them to a secrets vault and bind retrieval to workload identity with audit trails. Weak default scopes that hand out broad API powers inflate risk. Trim scopes to the least needed and review them quarterly for creep. Each remedy is a one-time decision that removes a class of quiet failures for years. Consider a practical scenario that shows usability and security coexisting. Your finance application supports OIDC and exposes sensitive actions such as vendor bank updates and high-value payment approvals. Daily sign-in uses device-bound passkeys for speed, with an access token lifetime tuned for regular work and a longer refresh token bound to the client instance. When a user attempts a bank detail change, Adaptive Policy sees the action type, checks device posture, and requires step-up with a phishing-resistant factor before issuing a one-time, narrowly scoped token for the task. If the request originates from an unmanaged device or unusual network, the application presents a read-only view and a message guiding the user to a managed path. Usability remains high for routine work, risk rises only where it should, and the story is captured in logs that correlate cleanly. Lock the gains with a short mental review that turns into a checklist. Ask, is the protocol fit for the app surface? And are state, nonce, PKCE, audience, and issuer checks enforced? Are claims minimal, stable, and mapped to roles that the app understands? Do SCIM and just-in-time provisioning keep lifecycle aligned with the directory? Are token and session lifetimes tuned, with re-authentication on sensitive actions and centralized logout that works? Are admin consoles behind stronger policies and network boundaries? Do monitoring and alerts cover failures, expiries, and odd consent spikes? If you can answer each with evidence, your federation posture is both friendly and firm. Close with a move that changes risk in a calendar month. Build a prioritized backlog of SaaS applications to migrate to single sign-on, starting with administrative consoles, code repositories, finance tools, and remote access gateways. For each, set a defined cutover date. Choose SAML or OIDC based on capability and context. Specify the claims and step-up rules. Disable direct logins or confine them to break glass. And enable SCIM where vendors support it. Attach a minimal proof pack policy export, token probe transcript, logout test, and a screenshot of the role mapping, and track completion in one place visible to leadership. When the most critical apps walk through one door, you gain usability, you gain control, and you give attackers far fewer handles to pull. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit BareMetalCyber.com.